Hello, welcome to Vietnam Journal, our daily English news bulletin on net with VPC 10. I'm Mr speaking for Hanoi. Every day we'll bring you comprehensive and up-to-date information on Vietnam and following major stories on Friday. World Bank estimates Vietnam GDP growth at 5.8% in 2011. Boeing sponsored Vietnam School. And we'll explore an ancient pagoda in Hanoi. The most important thing for Vietnam to improve its investment environment is to continue stabilizing its macroeconomy next year. The European Chamber of Commerce, or Eurocharm in Vietnam, delivered the message in the 2012 white book published in Hanoi on Thursday. Eurocharm recognized that Vietnam had been giving priority to taming high inflation since early March this year. The country has adopted some top measures such as raising interest rates and limiting credit growth. The European enterprises expressed their support for the inflation control policies in the White Book. They hope that the macroeconomy will be further stabilized next year so that Vietnam could achieve sustainable growth in the future. The White Book is an annual collective expression of the views and recommendations of Eurocharm member companies regarding the business environment in Vietnam. Vietnam's GDP growth is estimated to slow down to 5.8% this year. The estimation was a part of the report on Vietnam's economy released by the World Bank in Hanoi on Wednesday.
World Bank said that Vietnam economy has started to stabilize recently. Its report shows that inflation tends to decrease and the budget deficit shrinks. The bank says Vietnam's efforts to restructure state-owned enterprises and the financial sector will create a stable macroeconomic foundation for midterm growth. Thanks to strong economic growth of other East Asian economies, Vietnam is said to benefit from increasing investment and trade with these countries. However, the World Bank's report also indicates several threats that Vietnam's economy is facing. They include systematic risks in the financial sector, high interest rates, and weak risk management.
Two Vietnam business conferences has just taken place in the Italian cities of Cairo and Milan. The events were aimed to bolster an investment between Vietnam and Italy in various sectors.
The first conference entitled Doing Business in Vietnam took place in Carrara City on November the 28th. In this conference, Vietnam introduced about its economic and social condition as well as investment opportunities in Vietnam. Both sides also discussed investment and technology transferring in the mining and manufacturing of tiles from Carrara to Vietnam. The conference in Milan named Strategies and Opportunities for Italian Businesses in Vietnam was organized on November the 29th. Vietnam highlighted investment and export opportunity for Italian firms in various sectors such as infrastructure, mechanics, and agriculture.
And following some other business news in brief. An Airbus 330-200 aircraft arrived at the Nội Bài International Airport in Hanoi on Wednesday. The plane was manufactured in the French city of Toulouse for Vietnam Airlines. This is the 11th A330 craft in the fleet of Vietnam's national flag carrier. Vietnam Airlines plans to expand its fleet to 115 by 2015.
Vietnam International Agriculture Fair 2011 will take place from December the 6th to the 12th in the southern city of Cần Thơ. More than 500 domestic and foreign companies are expected to join the event. They will introduce new products, mainly including agricultural machinery, fertilizer, and feed. Vietnam's trade surplus of agricultural, forestry, and fishery products was estimated at $8.2 billion in the first 11 months of this year. The country shipped $22.6 billion of those products and imported $14.4 billion of those goods. Seafood topped the list of exports with $5.6 billion, followed by rice shipment with $3.5 billion.
Vietnam's marketing sector is experiencing a difficult period due to economic difficulties. However, the online marketing segment is believed to maintain good potential for growth. We will get to know more about this segment in the following conversation with an expert from TIN, a major market research company in Vietnam.
Good morning, Mr. Glyn Evans, and welcome to Vietnam Journal on Network Channel VTC10. And how do you compare the potential for online marketing in Vietnam with that in nearby Asian countries?
I believe there's great potential for online marketing in Vietnam. We've seen that whilst internet penetration is still relatively low in Vietnam, it's growing. Online users are generally very engaged. They're very interested in brands. They're very interested in finding out about brands. They write about them. They share their knowledge with other people. All this points towards the fact that there's great potential for companies and for brands to get involved with the consumers while they're still so open to them.
How is the country's economic slowdown affecting online marketing here?
I believe that it's having a certain effect, but the great thing about online marketing is it's relatively inexpensive. I mean, if we compare online marketing to TV and other offline marketing, it's relatively inexpensive. Also, consumers are open to being engaged by companies on social networking sites such as Facebook or Zing. So as long as a company has an online strategy in place, they should be able to do it relatively inexpensively, and it shouldn't be affected too much by the economic downturn. Consumers are still interested in brands, even if they're not purchasing as much as they were before.
What is your forecast for online marketing growth in Vietnam next year?
I believe this year, 2011-2012, is very exciting. I think there's great potential for growth as long as companies get their online strategy correct. I believe there's a huge interest in brands. People are discussing amongst themselves. We have so-called advocates. These are people who are writing about brands, and they have a very big voice, and people are listening to them. So as long as companies get involved, there is great potential.
And the final question, in your opinion, what will be the most effective internet tool to boost online marketing in Vietnam?
It depends really. I mean, you need to keep on board on social networks. It's very important that companies have their own Facebook page so people, can like it and say they enjoyed reading about this. It's important that blogs, that companies get involved in blogs. There's many people out there who are writing about brands, who are writing about companies. It's important that the companies monitor this and are able to have input, because anything negative written about a brand or a company can spread like wildfire. So it's important that the companies have an input, and hopefully their campaigns will go viral, as this is what has the biggest reach.
Okay, and that's our last question. Thank you very much for taking this interview with us.
Vietnam Journal. It's not just news, it's life in Vietnam.
Welcome back to Vietnam Journal. A primary school were inaugurated in Dong Thap Province in southern Vietnam on Wednesday. The school was sponsored by American plane maker Boeing and the United States-based Smith West Foundation.
U.S. Consul General An Le, the representatives of Boeing in Asia Pacific, and its Smith West Foundation attended the inauguration. The Thanh Pho Primary School covers 2,310 square meters with 14 rooms. They are fully equipped with chairs, table, and a water filter system capable of serving in 266 students. The total investment of the project is $139,000. Half of the money was sponsored by the American partners. Boeing has sponsored 12 primary schools and kindergartens in Vietnam in coordination with its Smith West Foundation.
Vietnam is holding a series of events to honor international travel companies for their contribution to the development of Vietnam's hospitality industry. This is the first time Vietnam has ever organized such a program to pay tribute to foreign tourism firms.
The event started on November the 30th and will last until December the 3rd. It includes the exploration of tourist destinations in Hanoi and Halong Bay. Besides, a gala night will also be held with the attendance of 250 delegates. They include representatives from 45 international travel companies of 17 countries like Japan, France, and the US, among others. These travel companies are honored for bringing the most visitors to Vietnam and for partnering with Vietnam's market early. Nearby countries such as Thailand and Singapore have been carrying out similar programs for many years and have presented Vietnamese travel companies several awards.
Lý Triều Quốc sư Pagoda is located in an old street of Hanoi and dedicated to worshipping a Buddhist monk of Lý dynasty named Lý Quốc sư. This is a serene place for people to find their peace of mind in a busy modern life. In the following report, we'll get to know more about this ancient pagoda. Historical documents say the pagoda was originally a temple set up in 1131. A was named Lý Triều Quốc sư, the national professor of the Lý dynasty. The pagoda has undergone significant ups and downs in history. What exists today is a result of the restoration in 2000 conducted by the Venerable Thích Bảo Nghiêm and Buddhist followers to certify the design of worshipping.
Nói chung là vẫn giữ được nguyên, nhưng nó sẽ mang cái hệ thống của những ngôi chùa Bắc Việt có cái tính chất là tiền Phật hậu thánh. Đây là cũng một trong những ngôi đặc biệt của Phật giáo Đồng bằng Bắc Bộ. Ở trong chùa Lý Triều Quốc sư này hiện nay còn bảo tồn được mấy pho tượng cổ. Đó là tượng Quốc sư Minh Không và tượng ba vị quan huyện Thọ Sương với 4 bà phu nhân này. Tức là còn 8 pho tượng gỗ là tạc vào giữa thế kỷ 19. Ngoài ra ta còn 4 pho tượng đá nữa mà được cho như là tượng của thiền sư Đạo Hạnh, thiền sư Giác Hải, và 2 pho tượng này cho là tượng phụ mẫu, thánh mẫu Quốc sư Minh Không ấy.
Since the arrival of Buddhism in Vietnam, the teachings of Buddhism have become part of the daily life of Vietnamese people. As a result, pagodas are built in all Vietnamese villages. The structures are believed to bring peace for the villagers. Each village worships not only Buddha, but also an enlightened master called the saint of the village. In a pagoda, the statue of the saint is placed behind that pagoda.
Ta biết rằng hệ thống chùa ở miền Bắc là có một loạt cái tín ngưỡng thờ hậu. Thờ hậu tức là thờ những người có công xây nên cái kiến trúc đó hoặc là trùng tu kiến trúc đó. Thì thông thường là người ta để bia, hoặc những người mà có công lớn ấy, thì người ta tạo nên tượng.
Nearly 200 years have passed, but Lý Quốc sư statue looks the same and beautiful. The statue is admired for its solemn face, looks sacred and tolerant. The talented craftsmen in the past, with clever hands, have carved a lively statue for descendants to pay tribute to the excellent national professor. The story about the ancient Vietnamese pagoda has wrapped up our news bulletin for today. For comments and feedbacks, please send it an email to netvietdaily@gmail.com. Thank you for watching, and see you tomorrow.